Hello, I'm Elliot Lee. I intend for this video to be used as the start of my video log or video diary for the placement I'll be doing this year, and that I've already started at Dynamite or Portsmouth Disability Forum. So despite already doing a week there, I thought it'd be best if I just gave a bit of context to how I found this and just a bit of context to myself. Um, So I study international development. I'm in my third year. This will be my third year going into it, and I'll be doing my fourth year next year, doing my dissertation and finishing off. So it was quite hard to find this placement, as I guess it was for a lot of people doing their placement year this year and many other things. So it all started kind of about coming to university September time last year. I started searching as soon as I could, contacting all kind of places and that kind of stuff. Originally, I wanted to do this abroad, and I quickly found out that actually this was going to be very expensive. You know, close to 400 quid a week, so which is quite unreasonable for quite a lot of people, to be honest. So I started looking around in the UK. There's a bit of difficulty because I didn't know if I wanted to do this at home or stay in Portsmouth. And in the end, I thought best to stay in Portsmouth. Really, I know everyone around here, and it means I can do more with my societies and all that kind of stuff, which I'm still really involved in, which mostly include activism, as well as some politics and all that. So it got to about November time last year, and I thought I'd found a placement and contacted them. Everything seemed really good. It would have been a small development agency that does some stuff over in Africa. The plan would have been for me to travel up to London or near London a few days a week to do a bit of work there and stay at home and do a few bits of work here as well. Um, Unfortunately, although I assumed everything was good, um, by February I got a chance to meet with them and all that. And at that point, they informed me that they were actually expecting me to go abroad and pay a lot to do that, which I was just not interested in at all, and I didn't think they'd be able to satisfy what I was actually looking for at all. Um, Despite them being what seemed to be a fairly reasonable international development agency, they seem to be somewhat complicit in voluntourism, which not great. Um, so I started to look other places, and it got desperate at times just because of COVID. Really, I started looking from about February onwards, and it took a while. Eventually, by about May time, I got desperate enough because originally I wanted to start looking at charities and NGOs, as I didn't really like the idea of working for a big corporation or anything like that. So by May, I got somewhat desperate and started looking at companies, or at least very more ethical ones at that. Now, um, going back to November, I at that point I emailed so many different places around the UK and Portsmouth and around the world. Um, Back in May, I started to I started sending more messages to repeat messages to the places I've already messaged, and eventually I did get a email back from Dynamite or Portsmouth Disability Forum from the project managers, just saying they'd kind of lost my email, but they'd be somewhat interested in in getting in touch and all that. So over the summer, things just kind of seemed to work out from there. May, June, July, we kind of figured out what I'd be doing, um, and there wasn't a big kind of interview process at all for this because they're a very kind of small charity in Portsmouth. Just to give a bit of context, so Portsmouth Disability Forum is a non-political lobbying and campaigning group for individuals with disabilities around Portsmouth, particularly looking at working with people in Portsmouth, but generally in wanting to inform better lives for all with disabilities around the UK. So Dynamite is under Portsmouth Disability Forum, or PDF, and they're a uh, young person user-led group, um, for individuals with disabilities ages 14 to 25. And so the idea of me joining that group was that I have a chat with some of their young people. They have a core group which most of their decisions go through before anything happens. They do have trustees and everything, which are part of PDF, but it's actually their core group of young people that make the decisions. And so, once speaking to these young people, they seemed all very interested. I think the big thing was they wanted an individual who understood where they were and um, how services can be improved. And uh, the big thing was they were interested in what my disability was, because if I was to go in there without a disability, actually that's um, you know not necessarily a bad thing, but for because I with me because I do have a disability, I have a visual impairment. It actually means I have a great understanding of the services, um, although not the same authority. I have an understanding of services and been through a lot of experiences they have through school and college and work. And so they were at that point they were all very keen in having me kind of join, um, in an unpaid internship role, doing all kinds of things. In this meeting, I made like a massive list of all kinds of things I wanted to think about over the summer, and things I could start working on when I got here in September. Um, so yeah, it September kind of rolled around kind of slowly over the summer due to COVID, um, and everything's kind of going a bit slow at the minute. But I've already done my first week of this job, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's so interesting to see how they work and how they work with the local authority, interactions between the council and other services such as social services and schools and other charities. And yeah, I'm just enjoying it so much. It's so good. Um, I think I'll kind of talk through more of these issues in future vlogs, and yeah, um, once I have another week or so gone, I'll probably talk about my first fortnight experiences. Um, but yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I don't know whether how I'll do these vlogs in the long term. Eventually, once I get better at video editing, I might, um, you know, kind of take you around the office and wherever else I go. Because at the minute we're doing part time in the office, part time at home, and then in the future It may be I go to council meetings or going to schools to talk to young people. Um, and yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. See you soon.